You know what makes a good website look fancy? A clear animated text. So if I scroll down, you could see we have nice animated text reveals. If I do this goes from left to right. This reveals by clipping from bottom. This reveals by, you could see it is actually coming from bottom. There's one difference between this one. So you could say this one actually comes from below going up, whereas this one actually does clipping. So let me refresh this. You could see. Next is the color reveal, which you could obviously change the direction. Color reveal for bottom, you could also do above, you could also do this animation. Then we have a font that actually is based on our scroll, and all of this font you could make it all of this animation you could make it based on your scroll like this, so it goes up and down, or you could just do like normal animation like this even for this one. So as you scroll, you could see the text reveals. Then you could also do color reveal like this, so you could change the color. Then there's a scramble text, which actually has not much customization because I do not know how the JS library that I've used, how it works completely, which is why I've just kept like one single animation, which looks nice. So these are 10 of this, but again, even though these are 10 of this, it is not actually 10, it is even more because you could customize it if after watching this video. Let me show it once more in a quicker way. Let's do this. And one more thing, I am going to give this as a free template, but actually you do not need to use the free template. You could directly use the code because that's like easier and faster. So just make sure to give a like and subscribe because again, I'm giving it for free. So I do need some sort of motivation and that you could provide by liking and subscribing. First thing first, you could just add your text or whatever you want. Again, ignore the horns. I know it's kind of annoying, but I cannot do anything about it. I'll just make it in center, but you could place it however you want. Let's give it your text. So I'll call it as DMmotionarts text reveal. If I go to advanced to not default, if I do width smaller, I can actually do something like this. Okay, so this looks nicer. Now the thing about this template or coding basically is that there are two stuff in every single one of them. So there is a single heading and there is a heading which has a paragraph. Now based on whether you have a single heading in your page or if you have a heading and a paragraph in your page, you would be using different methods, or not methods but just changing like one line basically, or CSS class basically. And that is because this paragraph only starts animating when this has finished animating. Okay, that's why it is different, and that's why this one is different. So again, all you simply need to do is add your text, whatever you want to type. I'm just going to do is make it bigger, style it better than what I'm doing because I want to like explain lots of it. That's why I'm not taking like much time to style it nicely. So to do this, we are actually using split type JavaScript library and GSAP library. You don't need to worry about anything. You can simply just add the code. So let's go to HTML. This is going to be our HTML where we add our code, and let's start doing one by one. All of this code will be in description. And again, if you get this template, then make sure to select the first one like this and copy these 3 parts only, nothing else. Okay, only 3 parts. Do not copy this one. This is just for this animated text one. So if you want to use something like this, you could use this, but this is what we are going to use. So let's copy and paste it in here. If you are not doing it via template, this would be also provided in my website that I'll link below, where all the code is provided. This one would be at top, so just copy it and paste it and then use whichever code that you want. So for now we are doing the first one, so we will select and we will call it DM single heading 1. So this one would be DM single heading 1 like this, and all you simply need to do is copy this code below your script like this. You see, and let's see what happens. Let's do preview. And guess what? The text is starting to reveal one by one. And the best part is if I duplicate this multiple times, let's do preview. You could say this one has revealed, but this one hasn't. But as I scroll down, it is revealing. Again, if you go into this and you see this GSAP code and you do not know, okay, what we are even doing, I actually have a big video on my channel. You could see this video, which is like animate like a pro, which teaches you GSAP and Elementor, which is like very, very easy to learn. I have like very good response for this video. So everyone's saying it's like good. And you can see it has gotten 12K, which is like my highest waved video. So yeah, check this one and you'd kind of be able to understand this code, at least this much. But one more thing to keep in mind, this one is an h2 tag, HTML tag h2. Let me just copy this in a nice, this editor, so that we can see the code nicer. In this one, we can see I have selected as h2. So let's say if you are not using h2, what you would do is simply change this to whatever you are using. So if you are using h1, h3, h5, span, p, whatever that you are using in here, you would just add it in here. Okay. This all like this GSAP code, you can actually understand it once you watch like the 2-hour video, but basically it starts when the animation starts when we are like 80% in our page. So if I do markers, so this is not going to be something that I'm going to explain for every single one of them, but at least for one of it I'll explain it so that I don't have to explain it for every single one of them. So if I do markers true, you could see we are now suddenly seeing markers, and as soon as this touches, the animation starts. And that is because we have set it to 80%. So it is 80% from here. So if you do 50%, it would be at center. So this code would only be revealed when it is in the center. Okay. I've explained this in that 2-hour video, how GSAP works. So just check that. And another thing, if you type scrub true like this, you also need to type end for this one. Again, that has been explained already in that one, so I'm not going to explain it again. Let's do, I guess, like 40% and then comma. You could even type in ChatGPT. Whenever you do some mistakes and it's not working, just copy this in ChatGPT and ask why it's not working. It will say that you missed this semicolon, you missed this comma, you typed or you misspelled this word or something. I should have kept the markers true. I'm also going to keep markers true so that we can see what we are doing. So you could see, okay, so I just spent 20 minutes trying to figure something out, and that's one stupid stuff that I did. You know, when I duplicated this one like this, I also duplicated the code. So when I was doing some changes in this code, it was not getting updated because there was a copy of it. So all this time I was trying to figure out what was wrong and if I did something wrong. I even went to ChatGPT and you could see I started searching for Copilot to like why is it not working, but I just had a duplicate around here. So I'm just going to delete, just make sure you only have one HTML element, not multiple of it, else it would not work. Okay, so let's get to where we were. So I just added scrub and marker. Let's see if that works. And yeah, you could see it now works. I literally spent so much time to figure this out and it was just a duplicate. So just to make sure to not create a duplicate of HTML widget, you could create a duplicate of all this stuff. So all I simply did was created end top 20%. So you could see it is at 20%. The first value actually is up for this one, right? For this top parts. Again, if you watch the GSAP video, then you will understand what the first value and what the second value is. We did scrub so that it is now based on a scrub like this. So it starts from here and then when it reaches here, it will be completed. This one is already showing full because it's already at top, right? Because there's no way to scroll it. So I'm just going to remove the scrub and markers. We can also remove end because right now we are not doing it based on a scrub. Now we have y minus y to 30, so it starts from bottom. You could see, I think my throat is also giving up. So it is coming from down and it is also coming from opacity 0. If I turn this to minus 30, it will start coming from up. and you could say it's coming from up. We can also change the duration, so how long every one of this should take, and then the stagger one. So each one of these texts would be taking zero point 0.1 seconds of difference. So let's say if it starts at 0 second, then this one would start at 0.1 second, this one would start at 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, like this. So keep that in mind, okay? Also, just again, I'm going to repeat this, only have one copy of it. Now, one more thing, if you go into this code, let me copy it here. You could see we have actually created a split type. So I'm using like split.js library to split the text into like its words or lines. And you could see I've split it into words like this. So if I type it as lines around here, it will now split into lines. So let me first show you. I'm not going to show this for every single one of this template, or every single one of these headings, but I'll only show this for one of it, and then you could do the same for every single one of them because it's same. If I go into here, you could check our HTML, which is DOM, and you could see each one of them has been turned into its one each element like this. DMmotionarts text reveal, like, subscribe and share, and each one of them given a class word because that's what we used. It was words around here, like we change lines right now. I'll also change this to lines. So TM split heading 1, I'll change this to lines. And now if I copy this and paste it in here, and let's do preview. And you could see now it did based on lines. If I scroll down, you could see it did based on lines. And if I hover on it, you could see now it is actually split into, where is it? It is split into lines. So there are three stuff that you could split into. You could even do word, you could do lines, and you could do characters. And if I do characters like this and copy in here, let's do preview. You could see it is now split into each individual one. Kinda annoying when stuff like this happens, like this. So again, if you do character based, then there is one issue, and that is it can also increase the DOM size, right? DOM size is basically like, you could see how big this one turned. There are too many elements like this, and it can reduce the page speed. The load of the page would be also high, just to change it into like each individual character like this. So keep it on lines and words, it just looks better. And if you want to do based on characters, then only do it for few elements rather than doing it for whole of your page. Only for do like some specific element, design element. You could reduce the duration for each animation and then reduce the stagger, so it takes like little difference between each animations. And you could obviously make this to be 50%, and then the animation would only start when it is at the 50% location. Now let's check the second one. If I refresh now, it comes from left, and I'm not going to show how you can do it, but there's only one thing that I've changed. Instead of using Y, I've just changed this to X like this. I'll also make this to words back. Okay, now if I refresh, I only change Y to X, and you could see it just started coming from here. Obviously, if you make this plus, it's now going to reveal from right. So everything's same. One important thing I forgot, that is showing the paragraph, right? So for the paragraph, you actually cannot use this one. You have to use the second code. And the reason for that is, I want this paragraph to only start revealing once my text has been revealed, my heading has been revealed. And that's where we use something called timeline, which I've explained in like the bigger video, how it works. Basically, timeline allows you to wait, or in timeline, basically this waits until the top one is finished and then only it animates. So again, in the this one, which is, it's called heading para combo in the template. This one is called, let's say, single heading code, and this is heading para combo. Let's copy this and then paste it in here. Actually, this much. Uh, the what you call, the CSS class is different in here. So this one is called, so right now we had this one as DM single heading 1. I'll call it as DM heading 1. And then the second one is called DM paragraph 1. So let's copy this. You could even check in the code. So you could see we have called this a DM heading 1 and the second one is called DM paragraph 1. Uh, Let me copy this code in here. Let's preview this if it works. So one thing to notice that this one reveals by word, but this one reveals by line. Because if we do word by word and the paragraph is big, it takes like too much time. And usually you would have like a bigger paragraph. So in this code, a quick explanation similar. I've selected H2 and I've selected words. So right now we are taking the H2 element and then we are splitting it into its words. So again, lines and H2, whatever you use. I've already explained it before. Then we have DM paragraph 1, which selects the P and then splits into lines. Now make sure that if you use, let's say, something like H1, H2 in here by like selecting this one and then making this stuff, it would not work. It will only work for P. I haven't actually tested it, but you could try it out. But I think as per the code, it should only work for the P elements, which is by default paragraph. We are splitting it by lines. Okay. So if you want to do it by words or characters by characters, you could change this. Then we have a timeline, which is like 80%. And here you could see a heading paragraph timeline. We are doing for the heading 1 dot words. So if you do, this is for heading, right? So if you do this to lines and also do this for lines, it will start doing based on lines. And if you do this to words and if you also do this to words, it will start revealing the second line word by word. This one is basically like it does not wait completely for it to reveal. It actually does like 0.2 seconds before. So before this animation is finished, it starts revealing, so that it creates a smooth animation rather than completely waiting for it to wait. And again, similarly, this one is Y30, so it is coming from below. You could change this to X, you could do anything, rotation, color, anything that you want. Duration for the heading, stagger for the heading, and this one is for the paragraph. You could see X you could change it, Y you could change it, stagger you could change it, duration you could change it. Just check the bigger video 2-hour one, you would understand it, but even if you do not, you could type or play around with it around here. So this is for the heading. So this one is, sorry, not this one. This one is for the heading and this one is for the paragraph. Similarly, X and Y, you could do that, okay? Now, if I, let's say, just duplicate this one like this, I'm not going to forget to remove the code around here like this and do preview. Let's see what happens. See, it has revealed, but the bottom one hasn't. So if I scroll down, it will start revealing. Again, if you know how to if you have checked the GSAP one, you could simply add markers in here like this, and then once you have like done all the changes and all, you could remove the markers. So you could see we now have markers. So this one, as soon as this touches, boom, it will play. And you could play around with the second value, make this 50%, and the scroller start would be at center. But I like to keep it at bottom so that animation starts quicker. Because usually people would like scroll till top. They will not scroll like slowly and then keep this text around here. Let's see what's our third one. Third one is a clipping one. Again, similarly, you just have to copy the code. And then if you go in here, I'm again not going to explain every single stuff, okay? I've already explained it multiple times. If I copy this code in here, this is how the code looks. We simply need to give it as DM single heading 3 like this. Obviously, if you are using paragraph 1, then you will need to use this code and then use that. Bennett fairly clippy this side. I actually have like lots of video on clip path that you could check, which can help you create like unique container shapes, unique design shapes, stuff like this. And clip path basically allows you to like clip elements like this. And what we are basically doing in this code is we are making this to be this two top part at the bottom by default completely at 0 like this. And then simply when we are in the screen, we are making this two go to the top like this. Okay. And this is very easy to understand if you know X and Y coordinates, which you have learned in school. One important thing to keep in mind is that, let's say if you make this red point go down and then green point go down, and then if you try to make it go up, you could see we are not selecting the red point anymore. And that is one thing to keep in mind, that make sure your red point is always here, because then you're not changing the accurate values, right? So you could do stuff like this. And the reason for that is simply, we want these 2 points to be around here, right? We do not want the blue and orange to move at all. We only want this to move, unless you are doing from the left on right side, then you would be moving this two towards left like this, copying the code. So you don't really need to change anything in here. You only need to change these polygon values. So only select this polygon value and then add it in here, and then it would change the direction that it changes. So rather than going from up, you could going from down to up, you could make it go up to down, right to left, left to right. Just keep in mind that it is based on a text, based on the line, because here, never mind, it's based on words. I totally forgot how I made this, but it is based on words. So each word would be like revealed like this. Same duration and stagger that I've already shown. And for this one, you simply need to choose the correct, where is it, like this one. So you need to choose the correct CSS class and this correct code, which is now based on lines. You could say it is based on lines, words. So you will need to do is change this to words and change this to words if you want to do this words by word. Okay, I've already explained it. I'm not going to explain again and again. The next one is different. So if I scroll down or refresh, you could see that this is different. So I don't know if you can see the difference, but this one does not actually move down to up. So the text does not move down to up, but in this one, the text comes from bottom like this. This one was a bit complicated to make, so I think you could only make it go from bottom to up, simply because we are using Elementor, right? And then we are trying to change the stuff that Elementor is making in HTML to make this effect work. So you cannot change this to like left and right. You can only use like bottom and top. Again, you could try it out, but let me just select this text. Let me copy this. I'm going to paste it in here and then change this to DM single heading 4 like this. And what I'm doing in this one is, I don't know if you can see this, but I'll give a pretty quick explanation. Okay, it's not working at all because I removed this stuff accidentally. So let me select this script and add it at the top. So make sure you only add this only once, right? This whole code. And don't forget to add the scripts. And you could say it works nicely. And one quick thing, if you want to know what I've done, so when this line has been created, I'm using JavaScript to actually wrap this in another wrapper, which is why I wouldn't suggest to do this by word, because that would just increase the DOM size a lot. So every single stuff, you could see it would increase more, and it's not good for website speed and all. So just keep it line by line. And you could see this is DM single line wrapper for DM single, and this is something that we are just like after the page has been loaded, we are creating, like we are removing all this and then creating it another div like this. So that kind of that's like a workaround for this effect, because we are using Elementor, right? So all the code and the stuff like CSS has been done by Elementor already. So I'm just trying to manipulate it to match what we require. But if we were just doing it by code, it would not be like this complicated. Similarly, like if you just make this like y to be negative 120, we can make it go from top to bottom like this. You could obviously do this by line, character by character. You just shouldn't do like X, because if you do X like this, let's see what happens. You can see it looks weird unless you do it line by line. I think if you do like lines, let's try it, why not? And then let's do, this is split heading. Let's try it. We are only changing this to lines. I've already changed here, so yeah. So if for this one you simply need to change it only once in here, you do not need to do anything here. Usually, I've said in the previous sections that we have to change, but in this one we have already selected both, so don't you only need to change this to lines or words to have this effect. So if you do it word by word, it's not going to look good, but again, if you could just play with like words, lines, and see if it works. But if you were doing just words, then use Y. If you were doing X, then probably do for lines because that looks better. And then change the duration, ease, and if you want, you could even try adding like different type of ease. Again, if you want to learn more about easing, then probably you need to check like the GSAP video which I showed before. I selected ease power 1 in out. Let's see, because it would change the way it animates in. It's very fast. So if I do, let's say 1 second, let's see how this looks. And you could see this is how it would come in. And then again, h2 tag and everything else is similar. Same with this one, which is, if I scroll down, if you do this, if you check this one, you could see that we are doing it line by line and then word by word for this one. But obviously you could change this to lines and it would still work. And then you would probably also need to change, and obviously you could just change like x, y, and then change this to lines and all to make it work. I think for this one I've already selected lines like this, lines and words, and then for the paragraph I've selected lines in here. So you only need to change like one value in here and then change this to x and y if you want to do this. And simply you just need to use like DM paragraph 5 or 4, whichever it is used, which it would be in description. Okay, so we have used 4 and then DM paragraph 4. So this would be paragraph 4 and this would be this would be heading 4 and this one would be paragraph 4. One thing to keep in mind that if you accidentally create like extra one of it like this, let's say if you create extra one of it, and this one now has a CSS class DM heading 4, this one also has the CSS class DM heading 4, and then we have a paragraph DM paragraph 4. But like I said, this one should only be used when you have heading and paragraph. If you just have a single heading, you should use this, right? So just in case you accidentally duplicate this and this one has like the same code, it might give an error. Let's see if that if this gives an error or not, because it always needs to have like both of this always there. Let's see, you could see it is not working at all. And then if we go to console, you could see there's an error, cannot read property of this stuff and all. But as soon as I duplicate it once more, so just there should always be equal amount of this one when we use heading para combo. Okay, so don't have like the same CSS class if you're just using like single heading. If you're using, so just keep in mind that if you're using single heading, then only use this one. But if you are using like, if you want to use a single heading without any paragraph, do not accidentally give it like this DM heading 4, else it would like just bug it out. Which one was it? Was it this one? Like this one. Now now it works perfectly without any error, because there are equal amount of stuff. You could see no errors. So just keep that in mind, that if you are using paragraph and line combo, then always keep that as a couple and do not accidentally duplicate this one where they are in odd numbers basically. Then we have this one, which again, if I let's say just copy this, paste it in our code, make sure you only do this much, and then we simply need to change this to 5. This is single heading, right? Yeah, single heading. Let's see how this goes. And you could see it is already starting to reveal. Now for this one, if you want to change the delay between each line, you need to change this one. So right now there is like 0.3 seconds of difference between each one of them. But let's say if you do not want any delay, you simply need to make this to 0. So I just made delay I times 0. So now there is no delay. The reason why I'm doing 0 instead of just removing this is simply in case you want to like change it in future, you should have like a easier way to do this so that you do not mess the code. But you could see even if I do preview changes, it's not going to do any difference. So it would still look same. You could say it looks same, which is why you need to do is comma 0 around here. And this basically says that every single line should start together like this. And now every single line just started together at like 0 location. So just remember that. And if you let's say change it to let's say something like 5, you would say it came, and then 5 seconds later it's going to come, or it's going to do like the next part. You could see. So just keep that in mind, okay? That if you want to do no delay, then do 0 and then choose here, make this 0, and that would work perfectly. Now if you scroll down, you could see this one comes from right and this one comes from bottom. And I'm not going to show like every single paragraph 1 2 because this is literally the same stuff that I'm showing in here, which is paragraph stuff. See delay, you just need to type comma in here and then do 0. If you want to do at start, same with this one, do comma in here and then do 0 to basically start at the same time. So I'm just going to quickly explain what insert does, which is this one. It's very basic stuff. So if I let's say add a text in here, and I'm just going to show you like really quickly because this is not a tutorial kind of stuff like this in like very high in-depth tutorial. It's not going to be that. But if we select to selector and we do clip path like this and type insert, if I do let's say 0%, 0%, 0%, 0%, nothing's happening. But if I let's say to 10%, 50%, you could see that this is like top. So top, right, bottom, left. So keep that in mind, top, right, bottom, left. If I started doing 20, 50, 60 like this, it keeps clipping it inside. Okay, so if we do 100, it's going to clip completely. Similarly, if I started doing from the right side, it's going to do completely if I do 100. Similarly, from the bottom, it's going to do that. And if I do from the right side, it's going to do that stuff. So what we are doing basically is that if I we are just clipping this text like this. So by default we are doing completely clipping. If I show you in this code, we are doing clip path 100%. So no, this is for the text by the way, and this is for the what you call the background color or the hover color that is on here, the red color that we are using. What we are basically doing for that text, so you could see this text, what we are basically doing is we are keeping this color. So let me, I don't know if it's there's a way to like hide this. I'm using free version of not free version, but basically this free Photopea app, which is like a Photoshop clone, which is free and it works in your browser, so you don't have to download. So this is how we are doing. So by default we are making our this red color to be 0 so that it is completely inserted. Like I said, we are doing 100%, okay, from the right side like this. So it's going to be completely blocked like this. Then we are making this go to till the size of our text, and then at the end we are making it go from like this, from this left side in here. That gives this cool effect, you could see. So we make it full and then we remove it quickly, and at the same time when it is doing all that stuff, we are simply making our text be like it is fully inserted, and we are simply revealing it like this. So both of this stuff, I don't know if I can select both of it. No, I cannot. Okay, so both of this stuff happen like together. Okay, I cannot select it together. So as soon as this one as soon as like this one is like small, because by default it should be empty, right? As soon as this reaches its highest size like this, we are also making this go accurately like this. So behind this one it is, so if we do this, it is actually behind our text. So as soon as our this red color gets filled up, this one is also showing up like this. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not, but like this, let me see if like this. So as soon as this starts getting bigger, we also start like revealing it slowly like this behind our text, and then this one like hides it. So it creates this illusion that the text was never there, but it has always been there like this. So that is just how inset works, and simply you can change the values right here to give this like bottom and up effect. So if you check this one, which is from bottom, if you check in this one, you could see I've made it 100% from the top, which means from the top it is completely hiding, and at the end we are doing stuff like this. Let me see if I can show you guys in here. By default it is going to be like this, and then as soon as your page loads, it makes it 100% and then starts revealing like this. I think I went too much in detail of this one, but I think this would actually help you to customize it later when you try to do like some changes in here. Just keep in mind, we just have to change this alternative stuff, and then this one should be same as this one. That's all you need to know. And then for the colors, for this one, I've set here, see, reveal colors, so I've set it to red. This is for single heading, and for the double one there is like once, and yeah, I think there's only once. You only need to change the color in here, and then you could simply just change to whatever value that you want. Background red. There's the speed. So if you want to change the speed of the reveal, which happens like this, if you want to change the speed of it, you can reduce this to 1 second, but make sure you also change this. Okay, so let's say if I make this to 5 seconds and make this to 5 seconds, I'm using bigger numbers because it's easier to visualize bigger numbers than smaller numbers. Let's do preview and see. Again, if you have face any issues, just comment down or just email me or something, and I'll try to understand or solve the issue. You could see that's all you have to do. You have to make sure these two values are same. Let's just copy the bottom one to see if that works nicer or not, just to give it like a test. So I just copied this. This one has DM heading 6, so we have to actually change it. So DM heading 6, and then DM paragraph 6. I'm sorry if I'm being like a bit confusing, but it's harder to explain when I've created this code like way early, and then I need to keep remembering what I've done, to be honest. So you could say that's all you had to do. Let's just duplicate this and see if it works nicer or not for every single stuff. So let's do preview. So it worked for this one. If I scroll down, it starts revealing this. Obviously you could make it faster, it's your choice. Our next one is this one. I don't think I would be able to explain this much a bit nicer, but because this one is like, it is not complicated, but there's like lots of effect happening, and it is like very simple effects, not even that much, but I think it is limited to customizations. So for this one, I'm just going to give it DM single heading 7, copy in here. Similarly, there's like, you need to change this to lines in here. If you want to do it line by line, you need to change this to lines. You know what, might as well do it because we have already seen how it works in here. So let's do line. So again, here you would type line, not lines, and here you will type lines, and here you would type lines. You would get, you would understand once you check the code. So if I've typed words with S, then just change it to lines. But if I haven't typed words without S, if I've just typed word, then also type line there. Let's do preview. Let's see if that works nicer. And you could say it did by line rather than word. This is again H2. We can change how much degree it is rotating. So if I do 90, There's rotate X, which is like this slantedness. Okay, so skew is like changing this angles, right, left and right. A quick example would be like choosing this, going into transform, going into skew, and then you could see this is what we are doing. And rotate X is the different angle one. It is in 3D, so again it's a bit complicated to explain. Not actually a bit complicated, but it's just going to be like lengthy. So you could see that's how it looks. We can change the X to be -500, so that it is coming from -500 pixels, which would be like much more further rotation like this. Looks cool. Again, duration, how long it should take, and then stagger difference between each each line. Similarly, everything is same. You could see, just change this skew, duration and all. If you want to do words, choose words in here, change this to words like this. Obviously just type in ChatGPT. That's like the fastest way to do it if you are not familiar with the code. Then we have this one, which is I am a single heading that increases opacity as we scroll. Let's copy this. And like I showed before, that if you just type scrub equal to true, you could just make it be on your scroll based, right? So every single thing around here you could make it based on your scroll rather than it automatically doing the full animation. So what did I do? I just copied this stuff, right? Yeah. So this one we will call it as DM single lines 7. Was it 7? No, I didn't copy this. Okay, let me copy this in here. Don't forget to do like the correct stuff, and then change this to 8. If I do preview, I also need to add some like scrolling space. It's not going to show anything, but if I make this a bit below, let's do preview. If I scroll down, you could see it is working now very nicely. I should add more space to scroll because I'm not able to scroll below, but I think you guys get the idea. Again, quick explanation. If you change these markers to true, you would actually be able to visualize what's happening. Scrub equal to true makes it be scroll based rather than automatically playing the animation completely. So this is, so you could see as soon as we start this, it starts doing the animation, and when it reaches this point, it will end. Again, watch the 2-hour video to learn the GSAP, because that's like really good video for animation, and it's very basic. You see, everything's very basic. If I remove the scrub, you could see scrub equal to 2 and then this comma 2. If I remove this, what would happen? So you could see it is looking like this. As soon as I reach there, the animation would be automatic. It doesn't wait for my scroll like this. So that's all you need to do for every single one of them. If you want it to be based on your scroll, you just need to type scrub true, and if you don't want, you could just even type like scrub, like just keep it like what did that do? Okay, scrub false like this too. So in case later on if you want to change it, but again just removing it also works, so it's your choice. Similarly, this one too also is same. I'm not going to go in depth. One thing is I've set the opacity to be 0.1, so this one would be the default one. Again, even if you cannot see it in here, you would be able to see here, and this is the opacity which would be the default one, and this is the opacity that would be the final one. Just if you have selected GSAP 2, right? Again, if you watch the GSAP video, you would understand what this does. Now we have something that is like changes color as you scroll. So again, nothing's looking different, right? But that is because we have to go in here. Actually, I'm not even going to copy this code. I'm just going to edit this code, because this one also is like completely same. Nothing's different. So if I just go in here and type color blue, you could even type your hex code. And if I, let's say, make this to be color red, we need to type it in quotation because we are in JavaScript in here. So we need to type color red, and here we can just type normally. Let's do preview. and you could see it is now blue, and it is also opacity 0.1. So if you want to do no opacity, you could completely remove this opacity stuff. You could even add more stuff like rotation y equal to 0 and all that stuff, and you could see this is how it reveals. All you simply need to do is type scrub true. You could even change the start point and end point. Again, I will keep refreshing that video, which is 2 hours long. It just watch in twice speed if you want to learn like faster, if you can understand it, but if you cannot, just watch it normal speed. But you could see this is how it looks. Similarly, this is the same stuff. You just have to use like the appropriate CSS classes for both of this. We are making color red, opacity 1, scrub is set to true. The color by default has been set to blue. I've done it in like single one of this, so you could see. So both of them would be blue, but if you actually want to do it like different colors, then you simply need to type something like this. So you could remove around this much like this and add the color. Make sure no comma. So this one would be your color for the heading, and this one would be color or anything that you want for this paragraph. It is done by word. Next is the scramble one. Again, this one I actually don't completely understand because I'm using something called Brabble.js, which I actually found like literally 2 days ago, and it is not that complicated, but to run with GSAP and then Elementor, it was a bit annoying to understand it. I did use not Brabble, so Baffle. It is called Baffle.js. It basically allows you to do this stuff. Where is it? Like this stuff, this reveal stuff. It is like very easy to use JavaScript library, but making with GSAP was kinda annoying, so I had to use like ChatGPT to make it work. I did do like lots of the coding, but I just decided to do some fixing with ChatGPT because I was not trying. Like the documentation doesn't have like everything for Baffle.js, and all these comments have been added by ChatGPT. So yeah, you could use this. It's very simple. You just copy this. You copy this much, and you could see one more thing, that there is this part too. So this is for Baffle.js library. So make sure you also copy that one below all your 3 elements like this. We have set the opacity to be 0, so that by default it is like not at all visible. Then we have speed in here. So I think I should copy and paste in here. So to explain to you guys, again, we are doing H2, we are splitting it by words. We are then doing this. This is the characters that it will actually scramble or look right that. So let's say if I had to refresh now, you could see those are the letters that it shows when it is like doing that animation, scrambling animation. I think if I, let's say, make this, let's see if we do preview, it looks, or I could explain it there. I also need to change this to 10. Okay, let's see now. And you could see, if I, let's say, I'm going to not do any opacity in here. Let's see if that's visible in a better way. And here you could see the characters that I have typed in here are the characters that will be shown or like randomized in here. So if you want to add any different characters, A, B, C, D, anything else, you could just add it in here and it would randomly select that letter and then do this stuff. This is the speed, how much speed it takes to like switch between this randomization. Then actually nothing else in here matters. This reveal, I was actually like confused a lot when making this. This reveal was not doing anything because like there was GSAP and this Baffle.js conflicts. But all I could say is, if you want to change the duration, you just have to change this one. So how much time it takes to like switch between this one. So if I, let's say, make this to, rather than doing 0.1, which is 100 milliseconds, I'm doing 1, which is 1 second. If I go down, you could see it takes 1 second for each text to be revealed like this, each word to be revealed like this. So yeah, so if it's good to do 0.1, keep the opacity 0. The easing, again, I don't think it matters a lot. There's a delay between each stuff, but I wouldn't suggest to do anything because we are already using duration to change that. So keep everything same, except you could change your own characters, you could change its speed, you could do it on start and stuff. If I don't know if doing all this to lines would work, but I would suggest just copying this code in ChatGPT and saying make this to convert this to lines instead of words or anything else if you want to do it line by line rather than doing like one word like this. And I do still think word by word just looks better than line by line. Yeah, that's all. Again, similarly, this one is also like same. You just have to like use DM para, where is it, DM heading 10 for this one, and then DM para 10 for this one. If you use the code, you would just use this as a reference, and then you simply need to change like h2, this p, words, and anything that you want to. Let me just test one thing. Let's see if duplicating this works. Always make sure you're not duplicating your HTML. The code should only be once in this whole page. It is doing that, and if I scroll down, yep, it is revealing. It is taking longer because I forgot to like do 0.1, but it is taking 1 second, you see. Yeah, and that's all. I think I don't think there's anything else. If you want to get this as a template, it's just provided in the description. It is free template too, but again, you don't really need to download the template. You could simply just use the code that is in my blog, and that just does it better. And it is fully responsive. You just have to change the normal settings like this, which comes with Elementor. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. This video turned out to be much more bigger and complicated than I wanted to. So yeah, that's all I think. So again, I apologize if it's like too much complicated, but it's not much. You just have to copy the code. I've done the heavy lifting for you guys. All I want is just like and subscribe or share, and yeah, that's all. You could even support me by buying some templates which are provided in my website. So yeah, goodbye.